So basically what they have done is that they looked back and they see, oh, players are complaining, and I look at Battlefield 5, this old game, and it's like, oh, look at all those features, maybe we should bring some of them into 2042, maybe that's a good idea. After all, it is the first game we develop ever. Hello, what's up? We are going to talk about Battlefield 2042. They released a new patch today, which in all fairness they need to, because there are so many things in this game that they can fix. We are going to talk about the patch, which is patch number 030, or patch number 3 as it's more commonly known. I think it's a bit interesting though that they call it 0.3.0, because normally at least the very least version when you release a product is version 1, but as we all know, it's not really done yet. Or they just figure out that, yeah, it's a fun thing to call it or something. I'm going to bring a few highlights. I'm not going to say all the updates because there are more than 150 in-gameplay fixes and there are like 150 additional improvements in menus and stuff. So I'm just going to bring the ones that I thought were more interesting and yeah, basically what I like. First of all, they added weekly missions. Weekly missions are back. It's not the Battlefield 5 thing, it's not the Battlefield whatever version before. It's in Battlefield 2042 as well. They added a Santa skin for Boris, which some think is hideous, some are really upset about it. I actually could see that coming, so I'm not very surprised. Anyway, that's part of like the rewards. So you get rewards in kind of skins for people, skins for weapons, whatever. As I said, over 150 map fixes, so maps should be very smooth, or at least smoother than before. They made different, gameplay fixes, whatever. Hundreds of quality of life outside gameplay, so make the menus work better, smoother, be easier to handle basically. They also added a few new portal modes, game mode, presets and all that. And if you're a software developer, you surely know the, like, as we say now, 150 little bugs in the code. Yeah, I fixed one. Now it's 152 little bugs in the code. I think we can expect a couple of bugs, and we have actually already seen it. The mouse input may be screwed. If you can't move it horizontal, you might have to reset some settings. First they said you have to reset them all, but later on maybe it's just enough to reset like the key bindings for foot or whatever. Alright, so let's go into the bug fixes. So first of all, field of view should always be correct. Great! We don't have to start the game and the first thing we do is jumping and correct the field of view. Awesome, if you don't play with standard field of view, that is. The comroast is supposed to be more responsive, and that's great because it was hideous. They fixed it a lot with matchmaking and friends, but I still haven't seen anything about platoons, so that's really quality of life, and I guess if you are 4 players or less, that's great. If you are more than 4 players, you're still in the shit. They fixed collision fixes in the maps. You can't fly and end up inside a house, or at least some of them are fixed, I guess. Local audio placement fixes in multiple maps. People have been complaining about the audio. They continuously fix it. There are a lot of fixes with audio for vehicles, weapons, gadgets, the world, the positioning, and everything. So a lot of work is gone into the audio part. They made some love with Hazard Zone. Now they showed some love to Hazard Zone, and I'm not going to go through that because it's too much to read. The bots, they've changed the bots so they are less human. I mean, previously, you know, bots, they did tactical crouching and all that, so now they have changed them so they are less human. And in effect, that means that they have learned the bots to revive more often. There are also some fixes to like visual hit registration. Maybe sometimes you didn't get the confirmation that you actually hit when you should have, and so on and so forth, which is great because that's a huge problem. But they also state that the further improvements are being investigated, so they haven't solved it, they have just fixed parts of it. Okay. Oh yeah. Now, let's talk about improvements and quality of life. Firing mode is finally always visible if you choose to. which is the standard. So now you can actually run and you can change firing mode. You can see what firing mode you have while running, which is basically all the time. I mean, if you change firing mode when not running, you're doing something wrong in Battlefield, because that's the moment when you have time, when you move from one position to another and you're not shooting and everything, you're just sprinting. Yeah, that's perfect. They had added indicators for nearby players to revive or be revived of. They have added indicators for when players need health or ammo. They added or corrected a lot of visuals with weapons, vehicles and gadgets. They've simply improved the state of the game in like almost every aspect, I guess. We have an interesting one here. They reduced switch back to weapon delay after throwing a nade. So we have been talking a lot about this kind of sluggish feeling that you do something and you hit the button because you want to do something else. Like you throw a nade and you hit the button because you want to have your weapon. And the game simply doesn't recognize it. So they reduced the switchback delay. And here I thought it was a bug. They also made the ads for 8x scope slower, which makes sense because it was faster than pretty much all scopes. There were no downside of using an 8x, which is weird. They made a few differences here with like nades, which I think can be a bit odd when we start to play. So basically what they did is that a lot of nades like smoke nade, Sundance, scatter nade and so on, they bounce once. If you throw it like if you're on the ground and you throw it in like low altitude, it will bounce once before it goes off. So the idea is to give other players more time to react. Imagine now when you get used to like, oh, the nade is going to explode far away from you. That's no worry, and it just bounces in your face. That's an interesting one. And they have done a lot of fixes and improvements around the takedown, which I think is great because I like the takedown, but it was really hard to do actually because it didn't react. It took like 2-3 seconds before it. Oh, you want to stab someone? Oh, let's go. So basically, what they had done is that they looked back and they see, oh, players are complaining, and I look at Battlefield 5, this old game, and it's like, oh, look at all those features. Maybe we should bring some of them into 2042. Maybe that's a good idea. After all, it is the first game we develop ever. I'm also going to mention, because they said it, they are going to continue to throw out fixes very soon. They don't set a specific date yet, but if they manage to keep this tempo that they have set right now, then we can assume that already next Thursday, we might get the patch number 4, which will include balancing fixes, bug fixes, and pretty much everything else that they didn't get done before launch. There's almost a month that I put out like a new patch every week. And I can only imagine how stressful this must be for like developers, designers and everyone else. So yeah, I wonder how long they can keep this tempo. But so far so good. I like it. It's very nice. Yeah, that's all we're going to say about that. See you, bye, cheers.